Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from this month's sponsor, Ethico.
If you're a compliance officer, middle managers are crucial in getting your programs from you to your frontline employees. But how do we activate those managers and get them on our side? Ethico's new Middle Manager Toolkit equips you with the skills needed to empower your managers, to promote a culture where ethical behavior thrives and employees feel empowered to speak up. Learn how to turn frontline managers into ethical leaders with our new white paper, Empowering Middle Managers as Ethics Champions. And did I mention you can get the whole toolkit for free? Head to ethico.com to download the full toolkit today.
The Daily Compliance News for September 3rd, 2024, the Fictional Company edition. And we begin with that story from the Financial Times. As a U.S. court has ordered a Nigerian businessman to pay more than $250 million in fines and barred him from serving as a director of a U.S. public company. Last year, the SEC had charged Dozie Mbosa and 3 of his companies for fraud for inflating their performance. Well, now turns out they were just fictional companies. And the SEC described his empire as a fiction. And now he can't play with the big boys anymore. So yet another fraudster bites the dust. From the OCCRP, that's the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, reports that troubled U.S. healthcare company Stewart Health Care landed a major public contract in Malta, and it turns out their agent, who had been previously disclosed being paid millions of euros in consultancy fees, got a piece of the action where Stewart gave the agent and his son a part of the project that they were getting. Maltese authorities annulled Stewart's contract last year over fraud allegations, and the agent and his son have now been arraigned on corruption charges. Stewart is announced they are under investigation for FCPA violations. In one of the most disgusting stories we've heard recently, as in the last week or so, there's been a huge listeria outbreak from boar's head meat in one plant with 9 dead and dozens hospitalized. So the question I have is, did they have a health and safety committee on the board? I think Bluebell ice cream, it could get very, very ugly in the corporate world. In addition to the wrongful death suits, fines and penalties, they're up to no doubt shut the plant down, and lots of other nefarious, or rather very bad things for boar's head. We're not eating it in our household, that's for sure. And finally, the Reuters reports that HP said it will continue to seek up to $4 billion in damages from the estate of British billionaire Mike Lynch. The U.S. company's been seeking compensation, and now they're going after his widow. So HP is on the fight, even though, of course, he was found not guilty in the U.S. As I mentioned at the start of this podcast, the sponsor for the entire Compliance Podcast Network is Ethico. Well, Ethico has a great new offering this month for you, a toolkit for middle managers. This is something that you, as the compliance professional, can use to move your compliance program forward by giving middle managers the skills necessary to answer a call for speak up, or when someone comes in their office and raises a concern. I can't think of a tool that will be more valuable for you in the current era of enforcement. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.